Would you look at this, James? You don't know this, in fact, not many of these bums do. The last time me and Daisy were in a triangular gathering just like this, the third point was your brother, another Crimson. Now, I already know what you're going to say. Oh, why you always like to bring up my family? The reason is because, despite the fact you don't share the same blood with your stepfather and brother, the similarities are just way too damn parallel to the point it's noticeable. It's like your stepfather, David, really has taught you everything he knows, and we're talking about the same guy who trained your stepbrother, Malachi. You know, another member of your family who has lost all of his faith in pro wrestling all of a sudden. Why do you think that happened? Both David and Malachi have failed to do what's best for their bloodline because they both knew that there will always be someone bigger than them. And at SummerSlam tomorrow night, you will join them at the early retirement club.
Buddy, with all due respect to them, I've been in the WWE longer than both David and Malachi. That's true, but I've also been here longer than you and all of your friends. As a matter of fact, my undisputed WWE Championship title reign alone has been here longer than most of you, if not all. Clearly, you have been living under a rock because I'm surprised almost everybody else that came back knew exactly what era they're walking into.
Just because you've been here longer than everyone, that doesn't necessarily mean you have improved yourself within the time period. You can be here as long as this company needs you, but like all of these people, you will be washed out. You will be considered old news, last generation, that 2010's John Cena level energy. Whether it's now or later, your last year in this company will end up being like its first. Nobody wants to see you, no one cares about you. This title reign you got latched onto you doesn't mean a damn thing to these people. It's like you're trying to feed these kids more vegetables or something. You shove yourself in so much to the point they will spit you out. When I take my championship back from you, I already know you're going to ask for it back. When that moment comes, I promise you that these fat and scrawny abominations will never cheer for you again. Not after 3 years of boredom. You're not funny and nobody really likes you. Well, nobody but Daisy, of course.
You know, Jack, I didn't want to interfere, but I guess I have to. I know we've talked about this before, but I think I'm starting to see the real reason you wanted to leave me. Your mouth holds too much weight for a woman to carry. Sure, I've been stubborn and aggressive at times, but you, Jack, if you didn't leave me, I would have left you. James is the man I thought you'd end up being when we first met. He may be part of a family we both don't like, but he's not like his brother by all means. You are.
You want to know something, Daisy? You are very much right. I'm not just saying that to show respect, it's a fact. He doesn't get it. David Crimson always knew that he himself didn't have the guts to do what he could for his parents. So, he relied on Malachi. You know how that turned out. And then there's this guy, the dark horse, this underdog, the one and only, James Crimson. Now, let me put an emphasis on the one and only. Here's the reality, James, David should be lucky to have you in his family because deep down, he knew he wasn't able to succeed in this industry. Then he realizes Malachi was getting nowhere, and then you became part of his life. You are nothing more than David's experiment. But look at the bright side. You are the only one to actually succeed, making it easier for your family to live under your paycheck. Your family has and always will be a fraud. And I will shove that truth so far down your throat, you will end up changing your mind on resigning a new WWE contract after its expiration.
You finished. I mean, congratulations. You have more knowledge of my family than your entire time as a professional wrestler. I'm not planning to throw a single punch right now because I'm already aware of the fact that when it comes to whatever happens in the ring, you got nothing to prove. Not to me, not to her, and not to the people of Cleveland, Ohio. Your history with my family is obviously your biggest distraction, but what if somebody else was holding these championships? Would you complain about that superstar's family too? You think I'd talk about your family? No, because it's not my business. It's not the discussion. Every person in this kickoff are part of this conversation. Our match tomorrow is the main topic here. You are not the first person to bring things at a personal level. The best part of being here long enough is that I know almost every physical and verbal tactic that someone would do or say to get underneath their opponent's skin, and this nonsense that you're bringing up is not going to stop me from retaining my championships tomorrow night. So, go ahead. tell the world more than what they already know about my story, because at the end of the day, nobody knows who Jack Raiden really is.
How the hell are you still here?
Clearly, you have never heard of TBD. We're known for being an extreme pro wrestling promotion. I've been through worse. Me and Geneva have taught our roster how to be very resilient. You should be lucky that I'm not injured. Otherwise, you would have to wait even longer to get this Women's World Championship. Don't forget that you didn't earn this match. You cried about this match, about this championship. And let's say you win this, then what? All you'll be known for is the second-generation superstar that had to be stubborn as hell to get what she wants.
Funny. That sounds kind of familiar. I heard within your first years in the WWE, you were also crying about how management has been interpreting your character. So what do? You use the power that you think you have to make your own rules and get away with everything you wanted. And this company fired me. They fired me to allow you to become my ripoff. Sure, I've broken a lot of rules, no surprise, but when it comes to you, you just get a slap in the wrist. If you were living in my era, you would have never went through that brutality era, or get into Hollywood, or even go through that stupid fictional fantasy phase.
William Regal understood my position as the TBD promoter and general manager. Despite of what the WWE Universe thinks of me, I did what I think was necessary to make them react to me. I am not just some generic superstar that grew on nothing. I made myself more than something, and judging by how this scenario is going, those things are bigger than you think. I didn't need this Women's World Championship to show these people who I am. I made more time to focus on what was more important to me, and that's the WWE Universe.
If that title isn't important to you, then you shouldn't have it.
If this championship is all that matters to you, then you shouldn't be here. Say what you want about my previous gimmicks, but at least during those times, I blew up. The one time you ever blew up was when you had your little drama with your aunt. Ever since then, your career has gotten more stale than French fries. And what, you thought you were going to go bigger by hating on all the WWE legends? I mean, I know I've done the same and they've forgiven me. But you went from hating on what came before you to now what came after you, and what's after you is the captain that will shove you in your place at SummerSlam. Brianna, when I beat you tomorrow night and you lose the one thing you came here for, know that by the end of that night, you will have just about nothing. Nothing unless you start making better decisions around here.
Better decisions. Do you remember what I told you after NXT? If it's anyone that has made decisions worse than me, it's your father. In case if you haven't gotten the hint, let me tell you a little secret. After your dad, Bruce Weaver, was brought back here, was it true that you didn't want him and your mother involved in all of what you've been doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then what if I told you that he didn't hold his promise on his end? Bruce told Justine to make sure you let go of that Women's World Championship because he knew I would go straight for it and beat your ass. Which you obviously know I was going to anyways. So here's what my aunt did. She sent Jordana Rallin, Daisy Kingsley, and Viola King to target you, just so you can drop the title by injury. Then your friends from NXT got involved, which made that process a lot harder. For the record, I didn't come up with this idea. Your own blood was responsible for ruining your career by making an unnecessary decision. I mean, I probably would have done the same thing to you like what I did a few nights ago, but I didn't need to summon all of my friends. For what? Why would I need them to attack you if I can just do it myself? You may be physically strong, but I know you are internally fragile. Of course you got nothing to say. What can you say? I already know what you're going to say to Bruce. What the hell were you thinking? Why would you make another dumb decision? I know that when this whole thing is over, you will finally give your parents a real reason to leave you alone. And tomorrow night at SummerSlam, when I take back my championship, you will have just about nothing.
Redina Heatherson, I know we promised you that you'll have a title defense at SummerSlam against a worthy opponent. We usually don't say stuff like this, but we were initially going to give Becky Lynch a rematch since she did well on your last match, but of course, plans were changed. However, we have found a suitable opponent that is willing to be up for the challenge. Redina, at SummerSlam, you will defend your WWE Women's Championship against Bianca Belair.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Cass. Redina, in your eyes, you may see yourself as the fast S, the strong S, and above all, the great S champion of this era. But in my eyes, I only see a woman who's holding on to something that I'm definitely interested in. I respect your hustle and passion and all, but just know that the WWE Universe doesn't call me the strong S, the tough S, the rough S, the quick S, and of course, the great S for nothing. I can't wait to show you what you've been missing out tomorrow night at SummerSlam.
Bianca, I've seen the amount of work you've been doing in this business throughout my absence, and I have to respect it. But at the same time, you only had those moments because I wasn't here. Now that I am very interested to see what changed since the last time I saw you in the ring. Let's see what you got.
Hold on! It's not over. Jacob Cass, you are in so much trouble. I reached out to Triple H and gave him my thoughts about you as GM, and you want to know what he's giving me in return. A match. You versus me at SummerSlam for the SmackDown General Manager position.
Seriously, Miz? Come on. He's only been GM for a week. That isn't fair. I'm going to confront Triple H.
Confront? This match has already been made. It's too late. Unless if you want to join in the fun, and we can make tomorrow's match a mixed tag team. My wife, MyRise, would do anything in her power to keep me running SmackDown.
You know what? You got a deal. Me and Jacob versus you and MyRise. If me and Jacob wins, Jacob will remain as SmackDown's GM. But if you and your wife wins, Jacob will give up his position as GM and hand it back to you.